Good morning, and welcome to Who Am I? And what is Who Am I? Well, just so we're loud and clear, this is just a stream of consciousness. This is just me doing stream of consciousness. As I put together the elements, the components of my own mind, the thoughts and the ideas that I look out into the world and I see how they stick together within my own mind. So, no expectations. If anybody tunes in and they hear anything interesting, great. Absolutely. And we're talking about real things. We're going to talk about source energy. We're going to talk about consciousness. We're going to talk about, I bring in the new physics, the understandings of the new physics, a layman's view, the basic structure, the fullness of space, the spinning of space-time, the holographic nature, the new model of the Big Bang, the way that the Big Bangs happen. You know, I may mention or even tag in all of these things. But basically, it's just me doing stream of consciousness. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I'm not really trying to save the world. The world doesn't need saving. The world is really cool. That's basically what my message is. The world is really cool. Let's work with it. Now, I had something on my mind this morning. I had a couple things on my mind this morning. One had to do with, there's times when you have epiphanies. It's like this. If you think the thought yourself, you come up with a great idea. You're like, oh yeah, this is what it is. And you see this idea and you came up with it on your own. Now, when you turn around and look, maybe you see other people have already said the same idea. And you're like, yes, they're doing that because we're onto something. And then you point to that and tell other people, you see this? You see what these people are saying? And other people might think that you're pointing at that because that's the first you've heard of it and you're swallowing it from somebody else. Instead of, you're excited because you're seeing a reflection of what you're thinking, what other people are saying. I get this all the time. I point to stuff and I'm all excited because I'm like, look at this. Look at how it's reflecting things in my own mind. And of course, other people don't get that. They think you're just pointing at going, wow, look at that idea over there. I'm going to take that idea in. When actually, that's not what you're doing. They think that you're just being sucked in by other people's ideas. And actually, you're excited because you're seeing your own ideas reflected in the glass all around you. World all around you, actually. So anyway, another thing I had on my mind was I wanted to welcome a potential new listener. I hope that he's listening. I tried for years. I tried to get him to come over and sit down in front of me with my charts and my I had a chalkboard, and I had a dry erase board, and I had my visual aids, I had my ideas all around me. I wanted him to come over and sit in front of me, and I would practice putting this together in front of him. And he just would never do it. He's so busy. He's always helping people. Him and his wife have all kinds of stuff that they're doing. And anyway... And I'm married too, so I'm not. That wasn't why I was getting him to come over. I was just trying to practice the speech on him. And then I got this idea of recording it on my own. And then somehow it evolved into now I do it online. And I'm practicing the speech to all of the world. Only it's not really a speech. It's just stream of consciousness me. I've been trying to do this for the last 4 years. 5, 6, when did I start? I started putting the studio together 6 years ago. Although it's been all very, very slow work because all this time I had really no idea exactly what I was doing. So I could have gone about it more directly had I really known I still don't know what I'm doing. I have this compulsion to turn on the microphone, and then I just do stream of consciousness. And I like the way the universe works. The universe has an algorithm. Anybody who wants to hear what I'm saying will find me, because the universe will help you follow the impulses until the universe knows I'm sitting here doing this. The universe knows who out there wants to listen. It also knows who wants to, trip in for a second, listen to it go, give me a quick troll, and away they go. It's all a dance. We got a beautiful dance going on with all of us. And so the one I'm thinking about that's going to fall into the characteristics of what I was just saying about ideas that you come up with and then you run across, and then you go, oh my gosh, especially when it's somebody you respect that you come across. So I've been getting this really strong notion for the last year. It's been coming up, bubbling up into the forefront, saying, no, this is a really important piece of the puzzle, that everyone must follow their path. Everyone has to call their own shot. Everyone has to do what pleases them. And that if somehow I've been getting this odd idea that if everybody did that, somehow it would all mesh. And I heard Bashar say that for the first time. Now, if I pointed to that, now I realize somebody would think that I was taking this idea from Bashar. But no, I had this idea already. I was onto it. I was thinking, you know what? It seems crazy, because who would do the crap jobs? Who would do the things that must be done? Well, actually, I'm not sure that everything that we do that's crap jobs really must be done. And I think some of the crap jobs, we should just quit doing them. And that's part of what's making the world a crap place, is crap jobs. That we would mesh in a beautiful, harmonious way somehow if we'd quit doing the forcing yourself to do things you think you should, instead of following the call of your bliss, your desire, that wick within you that is trying to call you forth to get you to do certain things. If we would, each one of us, follow our impulses instead of following from an outside course. Now, maybe you had parents that had a different idea, and you're trying to please them now because they said, you know what, you're not going to do what you want. You are going to do X, Y, and Z, dang it. And in a way, they are also correct, because as a child, you really don't understand the situation in order to clearly enunciate what you want, as to clearly know how to choose. You don't know who you are, and you don't know what the world is. You don't know what the choices are. You don't know what the consequences of choosing this over that now are. You don't know what the consequences of your impulses are. And so as a very young child, and then getting to be, I'm not sure when you're allowed to, at some point, you need to be able to, you need to follow your impulses. Maybe what it is as a young person, you need to be taught from a very early age who you are and what your impulses even are, and how what you're following I don't know what the answer is. The question is, who am I? And the show is Stream of Consciousness, and it's just little me. And if you're expecting bigger than that and you're disappointed, I'm sorry. But anyway, what we're going to talk about is the laws of the universe. Who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I going? What is the meaning of my life? What's the meaning of my positive and negative emotions? This is actually the most important question of the day. But there are more questions that tag in and more answers that tag in. We're going to be at this for about another 50 minutes because I've wasted 10 minutes just talking about, I don't even know what I've been talking about. Stream of consciousness, baby. Stream of consciousness. We start out at the beginning. I've been learning how to talk to myself. How to just riffity riff on this and that. And sometimes I hit interesting things because we're all very interesting creatures. All of us have access to a really significant well of data and information. I'm going to call it universal consciousness. And when Abraham talks, she dips into universal consciousness. She calls it infinite intelligence because that's actually, I don't know if it's infinite intelligence, but it's the data stream. It's close enough. It's close enough. And we all have access to it. And she does tell you that. She says, this is not something that you do not have access to. You have access to this too. It's just you have to have somehow some sort of non-resistant, just settle in and allow it to come to you. So you're going to find that all of the things that you know from a really clear place, a really clear, beautiful place. And everyone needs to be themselves in order for the world to be what it needs to be. And as long as people are worried about either what other people are thinking about you or what other people think you ought to be doing, that's another way of saying the same thing, then you're not going to be following that siren, that call of source. What do I do right now? What do I do? I don't know. Who am I? I'm trying to, what I do is I have a life, I have a family, we have projects. I have projects between my husband and I, and bigger projects between me and my children right now, actually, because we kind of have a common, we have common goals, as in there is a common property that we're working on, turning it into an Airbnb that needs to be ready to rent by next week. And we turned it from what was an empty house last week. And so all the things that you need, how do you get them now? And so that they're not complete junk, and so that they're not really expensive. We didn't want to spend $10,000 doing it. Now we could have easily, and it would pay for itself. You need to have the Airbnb aspect of it pay itself back, all of that money, any investiture that you put into the house. And then do you have to empty it back out, or do you sell it as turnkey? And then, anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying, so I use the laws of the universe and my ideas about focus and attention and clarity. And I add in what Abraham tells me about, she says things like, if you aren't working from crossed energy, that's not exactly how she puts it. If you're clear about what you want and you aren't contradicting yourself, if your beliefs are not contradicting your desires, you can walk directly to what you want. You want it, you think it, you see it out there. It's sort of like, if I want a peanut butter sandwich, I don't really have any conflicts about that. I know where the bread is. I know where the peanut butter and the jam is. I could just walk to it and get it. So my beliefs about peanut butter sandwiches and how to get them and where all the stuff is, there's no contradiction anywhere in that. I can just get up and go do that. Other things you might have contradictions in your head about. You know, I want a Lamborghini, but I don't know how to drive, or I'm losing my eyesight, so that's not really maybe I need to rethink what my desire is. That's part of it. Or maybe you need to rethink your belief about it. Maybe what you want to be is a concert pianist, and that's all you've ever wanted to be. You don't have a piano. You can't see, but if your desire is clear and you just focus on that, the universe will show you, you'll figure it out. You'll find somebody. Some door will open, and you will, if your desire is strong enough and you just stay focused on what you want, then the seas will part. Something will happen. You'll figure it out. I have been questioning whether or not my show is good enough to put up on the internet. But you know what? I'm not asking anybody to listen. They don't have to listen. There is somebody that listens to me through the night, and I just love thinking about that. They're listening to me through the night, through the trees, while the spirits of the trees watch over them. And me. I feel like the spirits of the trees watch over me. As a matter of fact, if anyone wants to imagine the space that I am in the middle Rio Grande Valley, in the green zone, down by the river. I have 1.5 acres, and I have trees and irrigated land and grass and bushes, and I just planted 14 new fruit trees in the last 2 years. 14 new fruit trees that have as yet to give me fruit. Actually, that's not quite right. 3 of them have given me like a fruit, so that I get to try a fruit. And I see what that plum tastes like, and I see what that pear tastes like. Anyway, that's the space that I occupy, so the trees watch over me. Who am I? Who am I? I'm a human being, and I am smack dab in the 21st century. And we have problems. We have problems that I would like us to solve. Our problems are things like sixth mass extinction. There's a swirling garbage island of crap in the Pacific Ocean somewhere. I hear it's as big as Texas. I don't know. I probably should face it. I should go look on the internet and say, what is garbage? I don't know if it's not solid enough to be an island, but it's a swirling vortex of collecting crap. It's kind of illuminating for us the patterns of the planet. The swirling energies of the planet are now illuminated, because within the swirl is now a bunch of. I should probably go look at it right now. I'm going to do it right now. Okay, what they call it is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And they are working on recycling it, actually. It's now, it is a problem. It's a horrific problem, but it's gratifying to me to see attention focused on fixing it. And I think that it wouldn't be a big problem to fix it if we had all the clean, free energy to do so. But as long as you're using energy that is really dirty energy to begin with, because, the digging it up and the refining process, things like the tar sands, they're like the worst. But you pipe it I had a troll that had an interesting defense of fossil fuel, how sacred and, clean and beautiful it was because it, did you know that this used to be life, that this is natural stuff? Yes, it's natural, but it's not enough, for one thing. We have more and more billions of people that want to live first world lives, which means they want to transport themselves around the planet. They want to participate in the supply chain of humanity. That's all of the goods and services that we produce, foodstuffs and technologies and everything that we exchange through, mail service and delivery and all of that. Everybody wants to participate in that now. They don't want to be in abject poverty in a shrinking environment. And, I don't blame them. We can expand this whole thing and make it really beautiful and wonderful and blessed and bountiful, but we need more energy to do it, and it can't be more dirty energy to do it. And we can't just be handing out this kind of power to demagogues and autocratic wannabes. I think we need to know who we are as this, because I think what is imminent for humanity is we're going to figure out this energy source. I think it's imminent. In a way, it looks like I'm trying out there's like trying to make it happen. It's sort of proving that it hasn't happened, me trying to make it happen. But what's actually happening is it's happening. It's imminent. This field is yielding her knowledge, her information, how this field interacts with itself and each other is becoming known. And so we're going to have that energy source is going to happen. And we need to know who we are, because otherwise, so one of the reasons that Kim Jong-un continues to be what he is there is because he has this nuclear thing, this nuclear sword of Damocles, held over everybody's head. And that's why that's happening out there. But I think even that's going to break through at some point. Universal consciousness will have its way. We are on the brink of figuring out who we are and how this whole thing works. I see it everywhere. It's sort of like, as you see it within yourself, then all of a sudden you look out and you go, oh my God, I see it reflected everywhere. And then you start pointing at it, and people think that you're glomming onto it instead of pointing at a reflection that you're seeing within yourself, that you're getting all excited about. Look at that, I can see that. Not, look at that, that's a great idea, that's the first time I've ever seen that idea. It's not that, it's like, look at that, I can see that inside of myself, and I see it reflected around me, and that proves. Anyway, who am I? I am a crazy lady. I am a boomer. I am retired. We're retired. Who cares? Does anybody care? Am I making friends? Am I bringing hope? Am I showing any of you how wonderful you are? Am I helping you understand your own negative emotions? Helping you understand that your negative emotions in a way are not you, but in a way you need to own them. What you being your negative self is you being just a piece of who you are. That piece is valid, but it's not you, because it's not all of you. All of you is actually a really cheerful, happy person who recognizes the validity in a way of that sadness that you just felt. But also that in your greater frame, you are not sad. You are not mad. Yes, I am mad about garbage, the Great Garbage Patch, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Apparently that's what it's called. not Garbage Island. I've been calling it Garbage Island. It's the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and it lies between California and Hawaii. That's where it is somewhere, and it's really big and it's really terrible. And I'm sure that all of the life forms that have to deal with that, we're getting plastics into the biofield. I don't think that it's good for us. We're gonna have to figure out how to cleanse, how to anyway, hold on one second. Gotta get a grip. Yes. I was talking about the meaning of your negative emotions. And this is probably... Your negative emotions have to do with your beliefs. It's somewhere where you've gotten your desires and your beliefs crosswise. Somewhere there's a crossed energy event that is happening. Somehow, in a metaphorical way, you've gotten yourself backwards. You've gotten yourself turned backwards. That's the way I put it anyway. When you are in a state of negative emotion, you are turned 180 degrees backwards. And now, if you try to act, you will be acting in direct conflict with your true impulses, what you really want to be doing. Now, if you need to walk backwards for a moment, just to walk at all, and to clarify your position so that you understand, sort of like, when you're looking at your GPS and you've started out and you're in a parking lot and it's telling you to go to that road and you don't know where that road is. 360 degrees. You don't have any idea which direction the road is. But if you start moving in the parking lot, then the little GPS will be able to tell which direction you're going. So you go wrong for a little ways. You can go in the wrong direction for a minute, but now it catches you and says, oh, I see which direction you're going. That's the way you're really meaning to go. So if you need to move in the wrong direction for a minute in order to clarify which direction you really want to go, that was the analogy there, then that's what you do. But ultimately, that's not the direction you want to go. You want to go the other way, where, So you got to understand the meaning of your negative emotions. Your negative emotions are caused because you are two beings, and one of them is always, 100% of the time, because it is purely vibrational. It's always positive. Your real self is positive. She's connected to all that is and all that ever was, the projects of materiality. She's connected to the universe and the planet and the stars, and so she's not worried about what isn't or what's... She's just connected to all that is. And so she's always positive, and that's who you really are. You really are a piece of that project moving forward is what you really are. So she's giving you guidance. Now, what about this negative emotion thing? So you have another aspect of yourself. It's your... the three parts of yourself, according to Bashar, go like this. The higher mind is the conceiver. He even says it with an accent, kind of sounds like that. Your higher mind is the conceiver. And your physical brain is the receiver. It's a receiver. It's an antenna, receiver, transmitter, receiver mechanism. That's what you are. You are a transmitter to the universe and a receiver from the universe. Your physical brain is receiving what your overmind is conceiving. And your physical brain is the perceiver of this. Conceiver, receiver, perceiver. That's how he goes. Now, Einstein puts it this way. This is another way to look at this. Now, he doesn't say it quite, he's not looking at quite exactly the same thing, but this is what Einstein says. He says, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. So in this analogy, the sacred gift is your overmind. It's your intuitive mind. It's the conceiving mind. It's your inner being mind. It's your vibrational self. It's your overview. And I'm telling you, you really have one. We really have one. I think that's my message. We have this inner being. Really, really exists. And it's not, we not only have this, we are it. We are it. So you have these two minds, and one of them, your little self, gets to think whatever you want to think. And when you take a thought or a belief about the world, about your neighbors, about whatever, and the thought that you take about whatever is mean and small, it does not jive with what your inner being knows to be true about you, your expansive nature, the powerful meaning of this whole life project, the fact that you have so much non-physical consciousness with you at all times, that the resources of the entire universe are swirling around you in potential cooperative component nature, ready to be right there should you choose your desire. Line up with it, and others around you doing the same thing, and we all come together in this beautiful, glorious concert. That's how we're designed. That's how this whole field is designed. Each and every one of us supposed to be doing what we want to do, following your bliss. It's not just important for you, although it is important for you, because you'll find your bliss. You'll follow your happiness. You will find your calling. You will be who you really are. And so for you, your life will be great. That's why you do it. But we all need to do this. And we all need everybody else to do this in order to make the really cool tapestry that we are designed to be, the really cool presence on planet Earth that we could be. Now, we can focus on all the shit that we are, because we are, you know. After we have cheerfully worked all day, you know, on whatever we've been working on with the family, with the Airbnb project, you know, working all day, frustrating, furniture's breaking, you know, things aren't working out exactly the way, you know, we still need this and that and the other thing, and, you know, but we're making progress, and we're making connections as a family, and this thing is coming together. It really is. It's taking shape. It's going to happen. Have faith. Have faith. Keep focusing on what you want. Keep focusing on what you want. Keep focusing on what you want. Don't be distracted by the things that are, and at the end of the day, you know, you say something like, just remember, life sucks! And then everybody laughs, and we hug and kiss, and we're like, we'll hit it again tomorrow. And the reason I say that is it is a pill. Life is a pill. Life is a pill. But if you can get turned forward on it, the payoff is just really big. It's really cool. We live in a very wonderful, wonderful, blessed, beneficent universe that if we could get the hang of how the energies flow and who we are within these flowing energies, we're going to build a mosaic. Actually, it's not a mosaic that we are. It's a lattice each one of us as a being so much bigger than we're giving us credit for, because we're only looking at us from the outside. Look at us from the inside. We are huge. And each one of us completely different, like a snowflake. The reason that the snowflakes are different is because they are cymatic patterns. And each one of those is like every one of those crystals, snow crystals, forming on a different frequency of all the jillions and jillions and jillions of different frequencies swirling around out there. The snowflakes forming on a different frequency, and that's why they all come out different looking. It's why, so cymatics is the study of the relationship between vibration and form. And it was invented by a man named Hans Jenny, who would take a metal plate and sprinkle a granular medium on top of this plate and observe how it danced into a coherent pattern. You can see this upper right, lower left. Those are cymatic patterns on a metal plate. That's some kind of granular medium on a black metal plate. And it's forming those patterns. And you can see upper left and lower right. Those are cymatic patterns also. You can see, but those are in nature. And all of this is just serves to illustrate that we are vibrational beings in a vibrational universe. We really are. And so what you need to keep your focus on is the vibration. How do you keep your focus on vibration? Well, the vibration to you, to a human being, is the feeling of it. What does it feel like? That's how your actual being is sensing the world around you, is through your emotions are another sense. It's like your sixth sense, but it isn't exactly the same as the other senses. The other senses are purely physical, and when your physical body dies, those senses are going to die with it. This is a different kind of sense, because your vibrational sense of emotion is actually who you really are. It is your continuum, the continuum of vibrationalness that you. It's the continuum of who you are, that which, how to describe this? Let's just go to this for a minute, because I don't know where to go. You don't have to you don't have to look at my videos ever, really. Occasionally, I show pictures. This is more cymatic patterns. These are just digitally created. And as the digital machine changes vibrational frequency, then these patterns are... but you don't have to watch what I do to understand what it is that I'm saying about things. This is how your sixth sense, which is your vibrational read of the universe, this is how it works. You have a physical mind, and then you have your vibrational source mind, and your emotions are actually coming from a relative read between those two minds. Your source mind is always thinking expansively and connectedly and joyfully. She knows where all of the desires converge. She knows, she can see the higher view, so she can see where all of what we want, where it comes together, where the win-win points are. And she's looking at all the win-win points because she wants all of us to win. She doesn't play favorites. She wants all of life to win. She wants all of joyful everything to win. She is the allness that surrounds us, that we are all a part of, that we are all a continuum of. But you don't sublimate yourself to the allness that we are all part of. You have to be your individual, amazing, authentic incredible, intricate self in order to raise the glory of the Almighty. If we were all sacrificing ourselves for the whole, then the whole wouldn't be all that much. It would be just a big bloody altar of all of us having committed suicide on it just for the glory of the allness. And that's not what it is. The allness is all of us being all of our authentic selves, to the greater glory of us all. And each one of us has to call their own way. You have to. You may not want to. You want to follow a formula. Tell me, what do I do? Strong man, save us. What do I do? Give me the rules. Show me the law. Let me follow the rules. But we're moving from a state of, my mother used to talk about, she would explain the difference between the time of the law and the time of the Spirit, in terms of the time of the law was the time of the Old Testament. And the time of the Spirit, that's the New Testament, when Jesus comes along and says, no, it's a feeling. It's love. And it's peace. And it is. It's love and it's peace. It's like that. You start there. And then the whole universe opens up. You're like, oh, that's who I am. That's who we are. I am we. We are us. We are I. And the way you become the most glorious we is each individual I sings their authentic song and is their authentic self. And I guess that's what I have been called to do in this little show I call Who Am I? I also believe, by the way, that a thorough understanding of who we are and source energy is going to bring us new, free, clean energy sources. Now, I've been saying replace fossil fuel, get rid of fossil fuel. But you know what? Maybe even those words sound too harsh. Let's don't push back against fossil fuel. It has gotten us where it's gotten us. It's got us off whale oil. We wouldn't have a whale left if we had stayed on whale oil. And you know what? We're not going to have a planet left if we stay on fossil fuel. Although, apparently it still has its time. But I think we need to add clean, free energy to the mix. And it's going to add energy to humanity. Energy to all of the good things that we do. All of the playful, joyful, beautiful things that we do. And you know what? We love abundant life forms. We love a living planet. I think we're going to be happier off fossil fuels with the Great Pacific Garbage. What did I call it? The swirling garbage. The Great Pacific. What? I moved it to a different thing. Let's see. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. That's what it is. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. What are all the woes of humanity, lest we forget them? Besides the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is a problem. Holes in the ozone, and I guess those are questionably a problem. What I think is happening on the planet, and I have heard Greg Braden allude to something kind of like this, there is a cyclical warming pattern happening on planet Earth right now that doesn't have anything to do with our activity. That is sort of clouding the issue, because there is also our activity, which is our dirty activity, which is causing the lungs of the world to, well, however you want to say it. There is a great cyclical warming pattern happening that happens every I don't know how many thousands of years, 5,000 years, 10,000 years. You can see it in the ice, like the great records of ice going down miles into the Antarctic, excuse me. They've drilled into that, and you can see they're like the rings of a tree. You can see the record of the Earth, and you can tell this. Our scientists know that, which, by the way, if our society is not in a position for our scientists to be listened to by the people, then I don't know why our scientists are out there. But anyway, the scientists can tell what has happened over thousands of years, like looking through the rings of a tree by looking through these layers of ice. And we know that there are such things as cyclical warming events. I think we're in the middle of one. I believe we are in the middle of one, and it's clouding our understanding of what of the warming event is being caused by human behavior and what is being caused by this natural warming event. Now, the natural warming event wouldn't be a problem if we were in a different place. But we're not flexible in our activities. We don't build our structures so that they ebb and flex and flow with the environment around us. The tiniest little things roll through and they crack and break and fall over, and now you got to have how many craftsmen come in and spend how many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions, whatever, to fix things. We don't build our stuff correctly. It's not in alignment with the environment around us. It's not in alignment with who we are. We could. I'd like to see us do that. I would love to see us living in cities that look more like I call it Disney architecture. Because it looks like it belongs in the environment that it is, It's not just 2x4s and sheet drywall and stuff and then painted or whatever the way that we do things. Why do we do things this way? Well, I know why we do things this way because, well, that's the way it's developed, and we don't know to do it any differently. But we could conceive of this differently, understanding the field better, understanding the structure of the field, and being able to create objects directly out of it. I believe that can be done because the field is like a 3D printer, but we need to completely understand all the rules and not with any kind of personal. Some of these things start to touch the kinds of ideas that are talked about in religions, and people get really personal about them, and they get really proprietary, and they get offended and outraged if you start talking about these things in ways that are too impersonal. If you talk about the energies, who am I? If you start talking about the oversoul or the overmind, I like the inner being, but it's actually a vibrational read on the physical universe around you. It's part of who you really are. And why do we need to talk about it in hushed terms? Why should it be a secret that we are eternal, cheerful, optimistic beings that are working together on mutual projects through time? Why should that be a secret? We should know that. And we should learn how to co-create with the field around us now, knowing who we are. I don't think that, but you start talking to people about that and they realize, she's talking about the Holy Spirit. And when she talks about the inner being and then she talks about the Almighty, she must be talking about the G word. Well, I think we need to understand these energies in order to fully be who we really are. Joyfully, creatively, happily. Now, I know that it kind of sounds crazy because I'm not looking at the pain and suffering on the ground that we really have. But you know what? Look at this. These are the 5 kleshas. And if you are in a position to look at your screen, if you're driving through the night, don't look at your screen until later, or look it up online yourself. The 5 kleshas. These are from Buddhist philosophy, considered to be the root causes of all suffering. Not knowing what's real, grasping and clinging to the unreal, being afraid of the unreal and recoiling from it. What you're afraid of isn't real. And identifying with an imaginary self. All of this kind of sounds like the whole thing is not real. That's not true. There is a real world. It's just vibrational. And if you don't understand what part of it's real and what part of it's not real, you find yourself being afraid of things that aren't real, missing things that are real. Now, on this 4th one, identifying with an imaginary self, what I really think's happening there, it's not that people are identifying with an imaginary self. It's that you don't realize that you are 2 selves. And one of them is a relentlessly positive vibrational overview self connected with everything else that is never, ever, ever going to let you go. It is relentlessly positive. And so if you insist on being small and negative, you are going to run into negative emotion. You just are. This is your emotional guidance system. This is let's look at it this way. I like this one better because it does show the momentum of the movement. You know, if you get into a thought frame that is in resonance with your greater self's knowing about the true nature of it, in other words, you're agreeing with what your inner being knows to be true about it. If you're disagreeing with what your inner being knows to be true about it, I would suggest that you think about it. Which one of you are you going to believe? The aspect of you that is in touch with all things and really knows what's really true, or your small mind that just took a stab at it and grabbed a thought. A thought. If you're disagreeing, who you gonna believe? I would believe my inner being before I would believe my physical self. Now that's where the Einstein quote comes in. Einstein tells us that one is the intuitive mind and the other one is the faithful servant. Believe the intuitive mind. Don't believe the faithful servant. You know, if it's just the faithful servant who is not in touch with the intuitive mind, the faithful servant only works when she is in concert with the intuitive mind. So, anyway, what does all this have to do with unified physics? Well, Nassim Haramein published a little paper last September called The Origin of Mass and the Nature of Gravity. And this paper describes how matter goes from being disorganized plonks into the organization of matter, comes across the event horizon of the zero-point energy field from not matter to matter, the origin of mass and the nature of gravity. It tells you as matter is coming into being, it is spinning. It comes into spin. And that spin is the source of gravity. That spin is the source of the curvature of space-time that Einstein noticed was happening in a gravitational field of a large object. It's the spin of the space-time that is causing the gravity. This is the I'm now going to show quickly all of these screenshots that I cut from the 37-minute YouTube video that they did that describes this paper. And I used to publish a playlist. It was right there in my description of my video, which is why no one ever found my video. I went for like 8 months without any new people ever finding my video. And then I changed the description to something that I thought was closer to an actual description of my show, a stream of consciousness, talking about, getting off of fossil fuels and source energy and who am I, and, psychology, human psychology, and all of that stuff, all in layman's terms. I think that's a good description of what I do. And then people started finding me. And a few people went, "Oh my God, I'm so glad I found you. Bless the algorithm of the universe." And then other people were like, shot me a raspberry and left the room. Fine. I don't care. Here, I'm going to do all of these. These I just screenshot from the 37-minute YouTube video called The Origin of Mass and Nature of Gravity paper, Nassim Haramein. I guess you could put that, I don't know, you can find it. You can also go back to one of my earlier shows, pre-September. I think all of August I was doing this. It still had the description in there. The playlist in the description back in August. Go find it. And you'll find that link to the 37-minute YouTube video describing the paper. Look at this one, this pixelization of space-time. That's the solid Plancks of... now, actually, that is a proton, probably. I don't know. The math has been done, though. I'm telling you, the math has been done. And even if other people, have their way of understanding this, this is a good start. This right here, this is still from the video, The Emergence of Matter. No, this is the one that shows the relationship between all of the protons within, all of the Plancks within the Planck field of a single proton, and the relationship between that on the left and all of the protons in all of the universe, and the screening mechanism, how the data screens between the scales. Oh no, that one is the Planck units. What is a Planck? Take a photon, which is really small. A photon is more like an electron. It's like that size, I think. I think a photon and an electron are potentially, I don't know. But either way, they're really, really small and much smaller than a whole atom, which is also really, really small. Atom's really small. Photon, really, really small. It's a single packet of light. And being light, it goes at the speed of light. And you take that packet of light going at the speed of light, cross its own diameter, that's a Planck. The time it takes to do that is a Planck time. The length that it goes, it's not even the diameter of a photon. The diameter of a photon is small enough. But how about how small is the diameter of a photon when you're going at the speed of light, crossing that distance? How small is that? That's really small. And then energy and mass have an equivalence. And so the Planck mass is, that's the formulas there. But here, this one shows how when a Planck is coming across the event horizon of the 0-point energy field into organizational structure, the organizational structure of matter, it's spinning. Its spin is baked into the cake. And that spin is the dark matter of the universe that we're not counting. The whole universe, it's like there's spin happening at so many different levels. And when you add it all up, I believe it all adds up to the speed of light, frankly. all of the spins, just add them all up from all of the ones that we know about to all of the ones we don't know about. If you add them all up, I bet you that that's what the speed of light is. It's that spin that we are all participating in. Original spin, I call it. I see I'm passing an hour right now, which means I need to stop. I have decided that I'm only going to do an hour a day. You don't need to listen to more than an hour a day, and I certainly don't need to talk more than an hour a day. That's enough to get back to the subject. Start my morning with the reality of the universe. Who am I? Who am I and where are we going? How did we get here? You know, I promised that in the description of my video, and I didn't really cover. I haven't been covering it as much. I haven't been focusing on the we are genetically modified aspect of it, although I find it interesting and I do think it fits. I think it adds up. So the question is, who am I? I guess I'll be back tomorrow to talk about it again. And if you were with me today, thank you so much. And if you will be with me tomorrow again, I thank you in advance. Until then, do your best. We're all doing very well. We all have an inner being. Our inner being is on it. Abraham is correct. Our beautiful, wonderful future is waiting for us, and I don't think we can avoid it. We're going to try, but I don't think it's going to be possible. Vibrationally, the expansion is happening, and that's a good thing. So until tomorrow, do your best. Love each other. I love you. And, of course, as always, may that source be with you.